For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast for 40 years of playing PlayStation and 6+ years in the games media combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to be part of future conversations, please check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter. All our links in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch us record this show live. You can get in the chat and have a damn good time. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. Additionally, if you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating, a written review, all that crap. Watching us on the YouTubes, like, subscribe, comment below. I do my very best to reply to every comment that does appear. If you have a question for Max, I will pass it on to Max. That's how it works. If you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Max, all those pregnant pauses, how you been?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. It's been, my work schedule's changed a bit, so I'm starting earlier, finishing earlier, which has been nice.
Because you mentioned that last week. So how's the routine affected you? Like, has it changed your scope of life?
I mean, I sleep slightly less than I probably should, but you know, sometimes you've got to have some time for rest and relaxation in video games. So I sleep 2 hours less so I can get 2 hours of me time.
Well, that's no. Well, yeah, I'm in that weird same boat actually. I've been staying up progressively later and later for the last I don't know how many weeks. Like I used to be pretty good and pretty consistent. I'm in bed by 10. I'm in bed by 10. That's the rules. And now it's like I'm in bed by 15:15. I'm in bed by 10:30. I'm in bed by 11. If I'm in bed before midnight, I'm doing pretty well.
I mean, my schedule's pretty chill. So like, I work from midnight until 7. I come home, go straight to bed. Get up at 1. My wife handballs me the kid. She goes to work. I do the daddy daycare thing till 8 p.m. when I handball the kid back to my wife. Then I play video games, and then at 11 o'clock I get off and get ready for work. Rinse and repeat. So I sleep for about 4.5 to 5 hours a day.
Jesus. Well, I'm at 6, so that's not so bad. I know, I feel your pain.
I try and nap on the couch when I can when the kid's asleep.
Well, yeah, I remember when I used to have my daddy daycare days, I would try and get a sneaky sleep in when he did. When my son did. It was a good way to go about it. Oh, but my week is yawning. I'm just tired. And I just probably explained why I'm tired. And that's completely my fault.
I did the same thing last night. I think I passed out about 11 o'clock. I went to bed and got up at 11 o'clock this morning. So, yep, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah, I tend to be doing the same thing. I'm have these shitty late night sleeps, and then I just kind of go hard on Saturday morning. And my wife's like, "Why'd you sleep so long?" I'm like, "I'm fucking tired." But yeah, not much is going on for me this week, man. About the same, about the usual. Nothing too crazy around the ordinary. I bought this. And I'm very happy for those that are playing at home. It's The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, as an action figure because I'm an adult. That was pretty cool, and I'm happy with that. But what have we been playing this week, Max? That's the real question.
So I've been playing more golf, more
PGA,
more PGA 2K21. Man, it's fun.
It's addictive as poo, isn't it? I love it.
Been playing a little bit of a game I'm assuming we'll be talking about a little bit later in the show.
No, let's just get right out of the bat now.
Oh, we've been playing Project Cars 3.
Yeah, so surprisingly, I received an email in my inbox from the team over at Bandai, and they're like, "Hey, here's Project Cars 3 if you want to give it a bell." I was like, "All right, let's do it." So I did, and I've been playing it. So, obviously it's the third in the series from Project Cars. There has been some shifts in pun not intended, around Project Cars. So Project Cars began its life as a simulator. So it was in really hard. Buy the thing, like think GT, think Forza Motorsport, like sim, like hardcore simulation. With this one, they've taken a turn. They've sought in a little bit. I wish I meant all these terms. I missed all these things, but I'm actually not. They brought in a lot more arcadey stuff. So the looks a bit more arcadey. It feels a bit more arcadey. Yet there's still some simulation spirit in there, and I believe that might be a point of contention for you.
Well, see, yeah, so I described it as it's not quite as sim as Forza, but it's not quite as arcadey as Need for Speed, and it sits somewhere in the middle, and I feel that sometimes its identity gets lost on itself.
It really does.
It doesn't know what it's trying to be.
Yeah, like
it seems like it's trying to hit both crowds, and it just misses on both ends, I think.
Yeah, because some of the things that fall on the sim side, right? So The big thing is obviously hitting corners correctly, hitting them at the right speed, hitting them at the right angle, and all that crap is sort of the big thing for this title. Then additionally, you've got, if you swing wide on a corner and you leave the track, your lap time will be invalidated. If you hit a barrier, your lap time will be invalidated. So there's a couple of things, and there's obviously a lot of hitting times, etc. So there's a lot of that simulation stuff. But then it's more arcadey in the way that you spec your car. There's no fine tuning. It's like, here's this part and this part and this part, and each part has 3 tiers. It's like, 4, the base, low, medium, and high. And that's pretty much how it works, and that's it. You just interchange the parts you want to get the class that you need. So there's no simulation there, even remotely. Additionally, when you're playing, you can just fucking ram cars, and it has no repercussions, which I come to learn. So yeah, you can use the cars to help you slow down around a corner rather than actually brake. Just but if you dare hit a fucking wall or slightly skid off track, you will lose your lap time. But apparently hitting them does zilch. And then, of course, there's the whole aesthetic of it is very arcadey comparatively, and that seems to be an intentional decision. Am I missing anything, Max, on those two descriptors?
No, not really. I think you've hit it right on the head.
Yeah,
graphic-wise, gameplay-wise, as all car games do, they look really good.
Yeah, the game does look stunning. The game does
fantastic.
look stunning, and it's something that we see in a lot of racing games, mostly around the idea because they're working within these tracks, and they're working within very, very walled off areas. They can jack that visual fidelity up. Now, I was playing on a PS4 Pro, so I did opt for the because they had the resolution or performance mode. I chose performance. I think the higher frame rate would be something that I would be more interested in personally. So in terms of performance issues, I didn't really have anything too major. I sometimes get really weird screen tearing in the boot up screen, which is always bizarre. But other than that, it seems to run really, really well. I think the biggest issues that I have with it are, as you said before, that blend between the simulation and the arcade. Playing it, though, I have an absolute blast. Before we get into those final the nitty and gritty on how we're enjoying playing it or how we're not enjoying playing it, is there anything objective about it, like the graphics, that sort of crap?
No, I think you covered it really well. I also haven't had any major bugs apart from the odd. I had some. I had a hardware issue where my controller just wouldn't recognize any of the button inputs for a while.
It froze for me once too, completely bricked my playthrough.
That was fun, but I haven't had any. Haven't had any graphical errors, no crazy bugs, no anything like that. It ran really smoothly. My PlayStation didn't try and take off, which is always nice, considering I'm still playing on one of the earliest models of PlayStation 4s.
Yeah. So I should also mention it, there might be some slight difference here. Additionally, this week I did go and get my PlayStation rethermoed. I went to go saw my friend Ethan at Tag Mods. We pulled it apart. We blew out like a mushroom cloud of dust, and then we reheat synced the fans and shit. So it's running whisper quiet right now. which is amazing. I highly recommend everyone do it. Like, because if you've had your PS4 for 7 years, if you've had it for 3 years or 4 years, like I've had my Pro and I've beaten the shit out of it, highly recommend you get in there.
Yeah, it's something I should probably think about doing, actually.
Yeah, well, you have the skill set. You know how to, like, do things. I don't, so I was like, Ethan.
I need to do my computer at the same time.
So, yeah, sorry, back to Project Cars, yes.
Yeah, no, like I said, or like you said, I think we've hit most of the points. Yeah, my biggest issue with it seems to be its lack of identity of, I'm not sure if it's a sim or an arcade. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I have been playing it the majority of this week, and I don't think I still have a actual valid lap time because
Oh wow,
I suck.
What difficulty are you playing on?
So I'm playing it on not the very easiest, but one up. So I've got it gives me the track indicators of, hey man, you should probably think about slowing down here to make this corner right. And then I'm like, nah, I can push it a little bit further. No, I can't.
Yeah, I'm playing. I'm trying to push those yawns out so they don't come back. Yeah, I'm playing on like the novice, like there's beginner, novice, and whatever. I'm playing on novice as well, knowing that my skill there is trash. Yeah, so those indicators are incredibly helpful. Like when you turn a corner, there are 3. There's essentially an exclamation mark being like slow the fuck down. Then there's, if you want to hit the corner correctly, hit it here, and then here is your and there's normally a third that's like, now kick back in a gear.
Yeah,
that pun was not intended, but also works as well. Yeah, so like and then that allows you to get those perfect corners and sort of string together these reasonable combos. So I'm in the same boat. I am really, really enjoying it. I've had numerous legitimate wins. I've come first. I've ranked first. But I've also had valid times. Once I sort of started getting the hang of it, because I primarily play arcade racing games whenever I do. So like Need for Speed Heat was probably one I played most recently. And I just fang corners. I was like, I just like drift my way around it, whatever. But the game isn't built for that. So like even though it's simmy, it's not that. Sorry, it's arcadey. It's not that arcadey. So once I got around that corner, god damn it. Once I turned that corner and then really sort of knew what I needed to do, I was starting to hit those corners correctly and keep pace and, you know, draft behind people and play it smart and be a little bit more tactical in how I was driving and how I was playing. And then additionally, because I was streaming, I did stream it on Thursday night. There was a gentleman by the name of X-Pilot who was coming in and giving me a bit of tips around it from Project Cars 1 and 2. Where it's like, yeah, from what I've heard, you can just ram people. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And like that completely changed everything because I was doing my very best not to engage in other people because it's one of those things. If I bump this wall ever so slightly, it's an invalidation. What happens if I ram someone? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There are minor things as well. It's almost as if the other races AI, they don't have to shift when they turn corners. They seem to can just like smoothly and keep going. Like there's never like that minor, you know, when you change a gear and it kind of like the car hitches a little bit. None of that is present on the other cars. They seem to take almost impossible turns with ease, even on these lower difficulties. So that like that's a weird hurdle because like, you know, you try to take every corner and you're hitting every perfect corner and you're say in first or second and next thing this guy just goes past you and then just fucks right off. You're like, how is that even possible?
Well, I mean, because you can tune your car when you start.
So not in the lower class because all upgrades affects your
ranking. So I accidentally did this. I upgraded my car too much and went from an E to a D, and then I couldn't use my car anymore.
So I had to go back and downgrade everything, and then like push that line to D as far as I could.
If you have it on the upper edge of the grading system, you can.
Well, I have been, and I'm still getting that. Like, I'm getting this. It's one of those things. Like, if you just shank one corner a little bit, then everyone's like, "Ha ha." So it's a minor hiccup, but as I said, saying that I'm like I don't have like I certainly don't have OCD, and I you know there's that sort of issue with everyone you know making that reference, but I have become very meticulous and I am very meticulous around games when it comes to clearing everything. So it's almost like small series, like six. So there's like six in a. Each class has like 6 series, and within that series, there are 4 races. There's 3 and a championship. So I'm on the 4th or 5th of the class E, and I've cleared all of them.
And then each individual race also have their own little
like three goals in each
challenges
race,
or goals. Yeah.
So
some. I think I completed one this morning. I think it was like complete 5 perfect turns, do 5 clean overtakes
in 30 seconds or a minute or something.
And then I think the last one was like reach a top speed of 140 miles per hour or something like that.
Yeah.
And I managed to get all 3. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Especially for me who normally can't, do any of these.
Yeah, so I've been a bit of a stickler, and I've been intentionally getting all 3 with either first or second run that I can. Like I will do my very best. Like if it's not win the race, then I'm like, well, I will go for the challenges. And then if I happen to win, mint. If I happen to get on podium, mint. Like there seems to be no hindrance in not coming first, which is kind of bizarre, but I like it. Because you can still do well and not come first.
Yeah, like even if you don't podium, you're still getting that currency to better your cars and to buy newer cars as you progress through the game. You don't need those wins to guarantee yourself the in-game currency that you need to make those purchases.
And the in-game currency seems like I didn't go hunting for microtransactions, so I can't confirm that. I mean, we're playing it prior to launch as well, because that game came out yesterday at time of recording on the Friday. But yeah, it seemed to be plentiful enough that I was able to buy like 3 cars and upgrade them, and like I didn't have too much of a problem in order to get the money that I need. Saying that though, the supercars, or the big high-end racing cars, they are substantially more expensive. So as there does seem to be a bit of a scale in the higher races you play, the more money reward you get. But right now I'm living within the 100,000 sort of early area. When you're looking at cars that are $400,000 or $500,000 in game, it's like, oh well, that's gonna take me a while to get some coin for.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Max.
The time I've played with it, I've enjoyed, but I don't think this is a me game. I can't find my rhythm.
Yeah, you can't get that
in it. I guess. Yeah. So I grew up playing arcade races, like your Need for Speeds, and I did move to Forza for a bit. But I did Horizon, not Motorsport, so it's less simmy. It's kind of similar in Project Cars 3, where it's not quite sim, but it's not quite arcade. It was just, I don't know what it is about this particular game. Because I find myself so terrible at it, it's not the game's fault that I'm not enjoying it. I think people that are that enjoy playing racing games and are quite good at them would love this game. It's got all the things that you would want. It's got hundreds of cars to race. It's got multiple it's got tons of tracks. It is light in the upgrading, like you said. It's very arcadey in its upgrade system. It doesn't have that fine tuning points. But as a racer, I can't see people wanting too much more than good tracks and a good choice of cars, and this is definitely hitting all those, or ticking all those boxes. But unfortunately, for me, I just not enjoying it as much as I really wish I would.
Yeah, so like the last couple of games that we've reviewed, specifically PGA Tour 2K21 and Project Cars, I intentionally picked PGA Tour, and then Project Cars happened to come our way, and it fit the same narrative. What I was wanting to do is I wanted to push what I play. So for the longest time, we've been in this luxury position where I've been able to ask for games that catch my interest, or I buy games of my interest and I play them. So there was a window of time back in the day where I would play stuff that would break what I'm used to, what I enjoy. So here, I'm like, well, I haven't done that in a while. So golf games are cool. I guess. Let's see how this one goes. This looks like a sim racer. I don't play sim racers. Do it. And I've been very fortunate that both those games fucking rock, and I've enjoyed them. Like PGA, I'm having a blast with. This I'm having a blast with as well. It's I'm a fucking burpy now. Like it's hitting a different part of me, if that makes sense. So like the racing games aren't my wheelhouse. I know that. So when I go in being like, I'm gonna suck at this and I'm gonna learn. And that has been fun. It's been fun picking it up, learning it, trialing it, and then tweaking it and seeing how I go. I have been thoroughly enjoying that part of it.
It was fun being out of my comfort zone, but I seem to... So I've been playing it for the better part of a week now, and I'm not improving. And it's not the game's fault. It's 100% of the game's fault. The game has all the tools that I possibly could need to be better, and I'm just not using them. Yeah,
see, similar to PGA Tour.
So I can
see and feel myself getting better. Like, you know, when I was playing PGA, I was going like over par, even... under par, or more under par. You know, like I'm noticing that I'm actually seeing an improvement, and I'm seeing that here with the times that I'm hitting. You know how well I'm going through challenges. Like I'm getting podium finishes. I'm like, no, I'm clearly getting better here.
I think I'll definitely keep playing it. But yeah, I do hope I get better because I do like the premise of racing games. I've just never been able to grasp it well. I wonder if it's because I'm playing with a controller. I wonder if it takes that so what I'm looking for. I wonder if I just had a steering wheel as opposed to a controller, if it would be a little bit easier to like wrap my head around type thing.
Potentially. Could be. Well, either way, let us know what you think about Project Cars 3. If you played it, are you showing interest in it? Let me know in the comments below. And as I mentioned, this code was provided to us by Bandai Namco Australia. So thank you to them for lovingly putting that in my inbox unexpectedly. Before we get into the news this week, Max, I should do my Ryan Get Less Fat update. Keeps me accountable. So for those that don't know, I have been on a weight loss journey as of January 1st. So as of today, the 29th of August, I have lost a total of 23.6 kilograms with my idea of getting pretty for PAX. So thank you, sir. I've got 7 more weeks to get the best result I can, because that's when PAX is, and that was my initial goal point. I ain't gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna do the very best I can, but PAX weekend. So yeah, that's awesome. So like we've discussed my injury in the past and how it's kind of put me on the sidelines for a while. Is my busted asshole.
I was wondering where you were going with this.
Yeah. So that's kind of healed now. So I mean, almost no pain, which is fantastic. So I've been able to return to DDP yoga, been able to return to walking, and now that I'm even thinner, I can probably I've been doing a little bit of running as well, just try to get that heart rate going a little bit, and of course still going with the man shake as my diet. But yeah, no, it's one of those things like, because I've been doing it for so long now, not like I forget, but it's just like 20, like remember when I hit 15, that seemed so impressive. And now that I'm almost 25 kilos down, I look back, I'm like 15. You know what I mean? I mean, like internally, I'm like, that seems so far, that seems so long ago. And now that I'm like, because it is a slow burn, especially with the last 6 weeks being sort of unable to do what I want to do, you know, it's kind of slowed down my journey. I should be higher. My weight loss should be higher at this point, but unexpected delays, you know. What you gonna do?
Yeah, it's been a crazy year.
It has been a crazy year. So I'm a little bit proud of myself, the fact that in a garbage year, I've been able to do, get the motivation to do something good. That doesn't happen often, especially for me. That's all right. Are you still on that journey, Max? Are you still giving it a whirl?
I've dropped the shakes. I found that I actually got really sick.
Oh wow!
For ages. So I'm just doing, I'm still doing I do about 15K walking a day, like just doing my day job. And then I'm a little bit more active during the day now that I'm running around after a child. Yeah,
that does help. And that's one thing, like, that's one thing that I've noticed as well. Being able to run around with James and stuff has been an advantage for me. I can now sprint and wrestle with him and do whatever I need, and it's feeling better. Like it's less demanding on my body, which is awesome, absolutely awesome. Done with the shakes. So do you have any spare shakes lying around? Cause
I do, man.
Yeah, if you don't want them, I'll fucking take them.
Yeah, if you want them, man.
I ain't stopping anytime soon. So yeah, it's interesting they made you one. Wow, that sucks. That sucks
I got wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Maybe too much of a shock on your body. Oh well, that sucks. That sucks hard. Anyway, let's get into the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you what happened this week in PlayStation. Now, I know the run sheet has Gamescom first, Max, but let's get to that in a minute. What I want to get to right now, it's the name of the episode. It is the little rumor mill that's going on right now, and it is a rumored release date for the PS5. Speculation has come about on the tweeters from relatively good sources. It's been put down that November 13, Friday, November the 13th is the date, with belief that Xbox will be going the week before on the 6th of November, which is a bummer because it's my birthday. Very preferred PlayStation, but that's cool. Now, this does tend to line up with a lot of things, Max. This lines up with the numerous next-gen release dates, like the likes of Valhalla and Call of Duty and I don't know, other ones. So there does seem to be a good bit of information here. It's interesting for Xbox. If Xbox come out on the 6th, but no games are coming out to the Friday after, it's been interesting. But their idea of blended generations, it shouldn't affect them too hard. What's your speculation? What's your thoughts on this potential mid-November release date?
So we spoke about this, maybe half an hour ago, and man, I sent you the tweet, didn't I? Yeah, sent me the tweet. So I myself have seen from multiple sources as well, especially on Twitter, that the 13th is release date. And unfortunately, with so many people saying that and without an official word from Sony, I feel that people are just throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks at this point.
Oh, big time. And like we've referred to him here before. That is the Twitter account Iron Man PS5 or whatever. I feel that he is just throwing any bit of information. So he's like, look, if I make up enough things, one of them will be true and we'll go from there. And as of right now, I don't think he's predicted a whole lot, or his sources seem to be very inaccurate.
Yeah. So, you've got the likes of the new Just Dance game is apparently a launch title for PS5. That's releasing on the 13th of November.
There's a whole lot, and there's like literally a litany of games that are coming out that week.
But you look at you brought up Call of Duty, for instance. All of their stuff is saying, you can, if you buy it on PS4, you can upgrade to PS5 if you buy the right version, blah, blah, blah. They're saying that it's not coming out. They're saying that their upgrades won't be available until a later date. So even if they do release on the 13th alongside a PS5, they're saying that a PS5 version is not going to be ready at that point.
No, what they're essentially saying is that upgrade system won't be in place. Because what they're essentially saying is, when the PS5 comes out, buy the PS5 version. If you're not buying a PS5 at launch, a little bit later, you should be able to upgrade your PS4 version. What they're essentially doing is they're trying to prevent people from going, hi, I'd like this PS4 version, thanks, and then they put it in their PS5 and get a quote-unquote free upgrade. That's what they're trying to avoid. So by intentionally saying that the PS5 version is more expensive, but the upgrade's coming later, they go, oh yeah, fine, I'll buy the PS5 version if I'm buying a PS5.
Yeah. Fair enough. I didn't think about it in that sense.
Yeah, that's it's them essentially avoiding, because gamers are fickle and they're frivolous, and they're like, it's the idea of like, if I can save $20 here, we do it. You know what I mean? And with the idea that these next gen games are going to be more expensive, if you can save $20 by just taking advantage of this sneaky loophole around the free upgrades, then fucking win.
Well, I mean, I'm unsurprised that Microsoft are planning on launching first.
Yeah.
And a mid-September launch is surprising no one. Like, let's be real. I mean,
mid-November.
A mid-November release for either console was kind of where it was going to land. I think you touched on it last episode, where it needs to be after Halloween but before Christmas.
Oh yeah, so it needs to be not in October. It needs to be before Black Friday, but it can't be after. There's a couple of different US holidays that really line up. In my pants, good friend Dave Chataway in the chat says, "Will PS5 retail disc work in the PS4?" That hasn't been touched upon, but with the idea of the free upgrade, I presume that how I see this going is either you put the PS4 disc in and then it essentially downloads the PS5 version for you, or you put and then the disc becomes the essentially DRM checker.
Yeah, so I've got a story later in the news for Call of Duty especially. So if you buy a physical copy of Black Ops Cold War on PS4 and you purchase the digital upgrade, you need to have the PS4 disc in the PS5 console to play it.
Yeah, so you essentially download the full game and the disc is your DRM.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. That's kind of what Oh, well, I'm glad without even reading that, I was like, yeah, that's what it's going to be. Look at me sometimes knowing things. Isn't that cool? So I was going to say, how does COD situation work that is making all PS4 owners pay $10 more? That's pretty much it. That's the trick. So they're essentially structuring it in such a way that if you want to play it on PS5, you need to buy the PS5 version. And surprise, the PS5 version is more expensive.
Well, there's a cross-generation bundle, which is $10 more expensive, which it's just going to come with the free upgrade once it's available. All Ultimate
free
Editions...
Upgrade.
Yeah, because you've already paid for it. All Ultimate Editions are cross-generation. So if you buy the Ultimate Edition for PS4, it will be the Ultimate Edition on PS5. There's just going to be one price for that. But it's interesting. So if you buy the Standard Edition physically for PS4, you can pay $10 to get the PS5 version. But if you buy the physical copy for Xbox One, there is no upgrade. There is no paid upgrade for the Xbox Series X. You have to buy a new copy. There's this really weird zone where they've decided that they're not doing it. But digitally you can. But for a physical disc, apparently it's not going to work on Microsoft console. They're only doing it for PlayStation.
There's got to be something on the disc then. Not saying on the disc in terms of content on the disc, but there's obviously some sort of back-end check that requires that new disc. Okay, it's interesting. All right. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty much on there. I think I said it. Also, hey, Mordecai, what's going on? I think I said it on the Project Cars stream, or may have been whatever stream I did before. One of them, and they said November 13. I went, yep. It was Call of Duty. They said Call of Duty was coming out November 13. I'm like, there's your answer. The next generation consoles are coming out via November 13. You will have Black Ops as a launch title. You'll have a slew of games that'll be considered launch title, making up the gap that I've looked at these first party games won't have. Just because they won't be there. Whether it's Call of Duty Infinite, whether it's whatever PlayStation's bringing, because apart from Miles Morales, we have no idea what's coming first party. But if you can fill that void with the likes of Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Call of Duty Black Ops, Cold War.
I mean, we've got Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk comes out that week as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's enough there to fill your slate for at least the first month or two, if not more, of the PS5. God, I'm excited. I just kind of, I'm getting this I guess almost this childlike feeling of joy, and I don't get that often. Let me tell you. So it's making me think back to in my youth when the weather was changing and it was getting nicer and that springtime kicks in, because my birthday's in in November. So I start getting that feeling of like, oh, my birthday's coming up and it's getting better, and that means there's a new game coming my way. And then now I'm older, I'm like, I get to buy shit. And like even now, I'm just excited. I'm like, oh, I get to open the new. Like I cannot wait till I open that PS5 up and I boot it up and we get it going and we can make some stuff about it. I am god excited.
Well, since we're talking PS5 already, let's hit the other PS5 news. So, documentation submitted by Sony in Peru reveals that the PlayStation 5 will take advantage of Bluetooth 5.1 and Wi-Fi 6. Bluetooth 5.1 support, for example, will allow multiple audio devices to be connected to the same console with less interference in closed spaces. And Wi-Fi 6, meanwhile, should help reduce latency, closing that gap between wireless and wired connections.
See, I go wired in my house because I'm very lucky. When I built this house, I intentionally networked every fucking room, so I only ever use wired connections. But you're a wireless guy, aren't you?
I was wired up until a few months ago, so I'm only wireless at the moment because I haven't gone out to buy a new cable.
Yeah,
because the cable that I use for the PlayStation is also the 30-meter LAN cable. So it's currently running all the way down to the other end of my house, so my wife can watch Netflix in the lounge room because the Wi-Fi doesn't reach the other end of our house.
Yeah. Yeah, we're a relatively smaller house compared to yourself, but even we had to do the same thing. We had to do... I had to buy... You know how like offices have those little Wi-Fi extenders?
Yeah.
And when my dad, for his old job, when they moved buildings, they pulled all it down. Everyone's like, hey, you want this? He's like, yeah, I'll take those Wi-Fi extenders. So he has a couple at his house, I have a couple here. So like we have Wi-Fi fucking anywhere. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. But additional to this as well, so one thing other that come out around the PS5, in terms of the back to the release window, pre-orders, you can now, in the US, you can request essentially the same way that we've had expression of interest here in Australia, but to PlayStation Direct. So you, by putting in your PSN and some other details, you will be in almost like a lottery situation where, depending on your PlayStation merit, essentially, you may get an on-date PS5.
Yeah. They're like, we'll send you an email, and if you don't get an email, then you're out of luck.
Look, there's a weird line here. That's fucking gross. Because it's based on your merit, or because I work and I play less PlayStation and I'm out of a shot compared to someone who happens to have like 400 platinum trophies.
Well, it depends on, I guess, what they deem the merit to be.
Yeah.
Like, they might look at it and go, oh, you've made your PlayStation Network ID 2 months ago. And this guy's had his for 7 years, so we're going to pick the guy who's had it for 7 years over the guy who's only just gotten one.
Yeah. And like additionally,
who knows what they're using as their criteria to pick and select people.
And there's also that concern around, like, is this indicating they don't have fucking many at all at launch?
Well, they've always said that
how
there's
restricted
probably
is this
going to be. Well, I mean, the PlayStation 4 was restricted. I didn't get one until Wave 2. And with the climate of the world and how everything's gone to crap, it's no surprise that, they're probably going to be limited in some places. Like, the shipping alone would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I do. I hope they're fucking on the move now. Like somewhere.
And like you look at America now, where post offices are closing. Here in Australia, mail in Melbourne is being rerouted into a different state for sorting and then sent back to Melbourne for delivery.
Yeah,
like it's just crazy.
But as David says in the chat, they did double production, so they're expecting 10 million consoles. Apparently, now they sold like 1 million in America alone on launch week. You know what I mean? So it's this like.
So it'll be, and I'm going to try my hardest to get one day one, but at this point, I'm not going to go Hunger Games style and fight my way towards one.
I will. I'm going to find a way to get a day one. I'm
not pitching my tent out the front of a store 3 days early to possibly get one.
I will consider it. I will consider it. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's the whole idea is very, very bizarre. But yeah, it has a little bit of I don't know. There's a lot to it that's very confusing. But anyway, I'll jump into this next one because this is following on from what we discussed last week. So last week, before we recorded, it was right before DC Fandom, where we knew that we were going to be getting more from Rocksteady and WB Montreal around their DC property games, and it has been confirmed. So we now know for 100% that WB Montreal are working on a game called Gotham Knights. It is not set within the Arkham universe. It is a sort of a separate game where Batman has died and you are essentially playing as Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and the Red Hood in order to sort of like living up their fighting crime on his behalf. So senior producer Fleur Marty states that this is an entirely self-contained story, as I just mentioned, that doesn't force you to play online or with other people, because it is 4 players, and there's 4 characters. You can play up to a maximum of 2 people at any time, or you can play single player. If you're playing single player, you can be offline if you want to. We think that teaming up and living that dynamic duo fantasy can be also a really great experience for players, but we won't force it to them. Co-op will only ever be for a maximum of 2 players, and you can play the entire game, as a single hero. You can also buddy up as the same hero, which is fucking bizarre. And as I mentioned,
So, sorry to cut you off there. So the reason why you can buddy up as the same hero is because there will be different character builds for the same character.
Okay.
So 2 people could play Batgirl, for instance, and be playing essentially completely different people. They'll just look the same.
But in terms of narrative, it's a bit fucking weird. But a game that is in canon, however, is Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. So this was revealed about 2 weeks ago, prior to DC Fandom. But instead we got confirmation. We got a cinematic trailer where we got a trailer and gameplay for Gotham Knights. This is coming out in 2022.
They said coming soon in 2022.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, it's in 2021, 2022. It's fucking yonks away, man. Like, it is not. It's too far away. So in the cinematic trailer, we see the characters of Deadshot, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and Harley Quinn. The trailer is pretty cool. I like it. Tonally,
it's so vibrant and colorful, considering Rocksteady's normally so dark and gloomy.
Yes. That's because they're in Metropolis.
Yeah,
and Metropolis is always more bright and colorful.
Well, see, I've heard a lot of people say, I wonder if this was the cancelled Spider-Man game, or the rumored Superman game, that everyone was saying that they were working on.
Because additionally...
they've kind of like because they've got Metropolis already there, ready to go.
Well, to add some interesting speculation to that, the original rumor mill for the Suicide Squad game was WB Montreal. So it's almost as if Montreal dropped it, Rocksteady picked it up and combined it with the Superman game that they were making. Like, you can kind of string these all things together, right?
Yeah.
You know, because they're originally making a game, not based on the movie, but around the movie. And once that property sort of died in the ass, it got, maybe they dropped it and they picked it up and then sort of made something cool with it. So by the looks of it, Kill the Justice League, they're there to kill Alpha Target. In this case, Alpha Target is Supes. What did you think of these reveals, Max?
Like you said, there wasn't much for Suicide Squad because it was just a cinematic trailer. They're like, it's coming out in 2022. It's very, very far away. Gotham Knights seems really cool. It seems like a nice alternative to Marvel's Avengers, being that cooperative story-ish style campaign game that you can play. It's nice to know that you're not going to be handicapped if you do decide to play it single player. It's got all those fun Arkham combat stuff. I'm actually keen. I'm looking forward to them. You know, they showed some what are those guys? The Court of Owls. They showed some Court of Owls stuff for Gotham Knights. I'm pretty keen. I wish they were a little bit further along because, you know, WB Montreal have been teasing their game for the better part of a year and a half now. At least that's coming out in 2021. I do really look forward to Rocksteady's Kill the Justice League. It was interesting that the Batman game is not canon, but the Suicide Squad game is canon to the Batman series, to the Batverse.
Yep.
But yeah, they look. Obviously, we didn't see gameplay for Suicide Squad, but Gotham Knights looks pretty rad.
So if, in terms of the canon, it makes sense. Arkham Origins is pretty dismissed as part of, the Arkham canon, even though it's an Arkham Origins game. Rocksteady seems to have their own timeline, and then WB Montreal have their own. I like I've noted before that I quite like the visual aesthetics around the Rocksteady Arkham games. I'm a big fan. I have a ton of action figures because it just gravitated to me so hard. I like what they've done here. I like the characters. I'm so glad King Shark's in it. That sounds awesome. He looks awesome. Boomerang looks cool. It's a pretty decent Australian accent. Like, it's turned up a little bit, but I like it. It's a weird situation where, knowing that it's coming out in 2022, it makes me wonder what the fuck's going on. And the same can be said for WB Montreal as well. So we had Batman Arkham Knight in 2015. Then we had, presumably, let's just say that, we also had the Arkham VR in 2016. So let's say, best case scenario, they kept working into 2016, right? So that's going to put it at 6 years minimum on this new game. Excluding, this time there would be so probably 7 years, possibly even 8 years to get this Suicide Squad game together. That seems unreasonable. That seems like a fuckload amount of too much time. WB Montreal, they didn't even make a game this fucking generation. They made Arkham Origins on PS3, obviously fumbled their way to whatever, and now we're not getting a game to at least till next year. Presumably back end of next year with Gotham Knights. Additionally, I don't understand why there is this sudden turn on both these games. Now, Rocksteady I don't believe they've said that it is a direct multiplayer game, but it looks to be that way, in the same way that Gotham Knights is. That's it. Fuck me and my expectations, I guess. But I don't play. My understanding of the Rocksteady games isn't. I like it because it's a single player driven narrative story, right? That's what I want. I don't want this big shared multiplayer, players multiple characters with different builds. That's not what I want. What made Asylum, City, and Night good was single player, narrative driven action adventure.
Okay, well, my counterpoint to that is the Batman games. Batman generally speaking, flies solo.
He does.
Whereas, especially for Suicide Squad, none of those are individually killing Supes, let alone any of the other Justice League. They're going to need to team up, so it makes sense for it to be a team-based game.
Yeah, narratively it makes sense.
Now they've said that you can play both games single player. They will
give me one
AI
sec.
Function.
The LED's behind me. You fuck there. All right, you go.
They will AI function other players in, but I have no problem with it being a multiplayer game. As long as you can play them single player, I don't see too much of a harm in it.
Yeah.
But yeah. It is awkward for them to step away from that single player narrative game, but hopefully they can still tell the same story.
The issue that I have is that from the experiences that I've had with these multiplayer experiences, whether it be, sort of like these people come together, the story's always garbage. Or the actions that you take it doesn't feel like they reflect what you're doing in the game, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean,
because as I freeze for a sec, give me one moment, my camera back in gear. But even what we played with the Avengers, right? What we saw in that A-Day demo is staggeringly different to what we saw in the actual gameplay of the multiplayer stuff, and that seems like this could just be a fault of Marvel's Avengers in general. But you look at that and I'm like, that's not what I want in a Batman game. If anything, that's going to take away from whatever that potential grandiose story they're trying to tell.
Well, the cynic in me is thinking they're doing this so they can make it a games as service game, so they can be like, well, we're selling you the base game where you're going to, take on one member of the Justice League. And then in a couple of months, we're going to introduce the second member of the Justice League for you to kill. And they're just going to drip feed us.
Yep. And that's I have the same cynical mindset around that when it comes to this. I don't want Rocksteady's fucking games as a service. Not
Yeah,
what
fair
I want.
enough.
But one again, it's also about fuck what I want. But you know, I'm one guy. Like, I'm curious, and as we see more and as we learn more, I do wonder whether they'll make that shift, because that's where money is right now, right? That is where money is in terms of games. It's these online shared experiences where there's perpetual income. That's the money. It just doesn't interest me, and the problem is that. Sorry, not the problem. There's some there can be some expected logic behind it, because if we look at WB Montreal 2 weeks ago, they were so strapped for cash that they were willing to sell their entire games division. So would you not be surprised that they turned two of their biggest franchise, their biggest property, which is one of their biggest properties, which is DC, into the model that makes more money?
I mean, I jokingly said the earlier when we were covering they could be on sale. Maybe they just need to make more games. Like you said, you know, Montreal hasn't made anything for years. Rocksteady's been in development for the last 4 years. You know.
Like, I appreciate them holding on to it and making sure it's good or whatever, or they've had failed projects along the way. But without that being communicated, it just looks like they really suck at this one game.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Well, let's leave Gamescom to last. Let's talk some Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So, Netflix has greenlit 8-hour-long episodes as a part of a first season. Resident Evil's coming to Netflix, Ryan.
Yeah. So I'm a sucker for those films, so I'm totally cool.
Written by Andrew Dabb of Supernatural fame, it's an entire original story based on 2 new faces to the franchise across 2 separate timelines. The official Netflix synopsis is as follows. In the first timeline, 14-year-old sisters Jade and Billy Wesker moved to New Raccoon City, a manufactured corporate town forced on them right as adolescence in full swing. But the more time they spend there, the more they come to realize that the town is more than what it seems, and their father may be concealing a dark secrets that could destroy the entire world. Cutting to the second timeline, well over a decade in the future, there are less than 15 million people left on Earth, and more than 6 billion monsters, people and animals infected with the T-virus. Jade, now 30, struggles to survive in this new world, while the
I misread that as Jade, now thirsty. I'm like, oh shit, Jade.
While the secrets from her past about her sister, her father, and herself continue to haunt her.
Gimme.
Sounds rad.
Gimme.
So keen. Sounds rad.
I love those the B grade Resident Evil movies because they're stupid, and Wentworth Miller's in there, and I'm a big fan of him. So yeah, give it to me. And plus, I'm on such a Resi swing right now with playing 2 and 3 remake. I'm like, fuck yeah, give me that. I want it.
Yeah.
To follow on the previous story with the WB and the whatever, Dave, where in the world is that Harry Potter game? That is the real
obviously they weren't going to announce that at DC Fandom.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Your logic checks out there.
I mean, I also want to know.
Yeah, so
like,
if WB Montreal are working on that and Rocksteady's over there, it's got to be like Avalanche or something, right? Like it's got to be one of their. Which, if anything, that's concerned. It's like, is it their A studio? No. Is it their B studio? No. Is it their C studio? I can't be NetherRealms. Like, NetherRealms make fighting games. Like that's one of Warner
Could you
Brothers
imagine NetherRealm working on a Harry Potter fighting game?
They're working Harry Potter fighting game. They're off being Mortal Kombat, whatever. And subjecting their staff to watching fucking murder videos or whatever. I mean, it's just like they're not working on it, so it's got to be one of these shittier ones.
They're not working on it.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm totally down for some more Resident Evil. Call of Duty, Max. Call of Duty, it's now official. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Why the fuck is it that long?
What a mouthful.
You're stupid. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they sort of pointed out, like, Call of Duty as a brand isn't important anymore. It's the Black Ops and the Modern Warfare part that's more important.
Basically, all we want to know is who's making the Call of Duty this time around.
Yeah.
Because depending on who's making it will largely influence whether or not I purchase it or not.
Well, speaking of that, so this is by Treyarch with Raven, and noticeably, if you look at all the art for this, you notice the Raven logo is a whole lot bigger than it used to be. So, because this was supposed to be Sledgehammer's year,
Yes.
and they got pulled out, and they've been progressively demoted. And it looks like Raven's filling that void because they've always been like one of the support studios.
But it's got Treyarch, which means it's going to have zombies, which means I'm going to buy it.
All right, so they've announced that due to their marketing deal with PlayStation, the beta will hit PS4 first, and those who pre-order the first-person shooter digitally will get 5 days early access to the sequel's online stress test, although physical copies will not be eligible for the same promotion, so they don't want you to refund it. There's also been some confusion surrounding the editions for this game, as we discussed before, but let's get into the specifics. The Digital Standard Edition, the PS4 will have an option to upgrade to the PS5 through the PS Store. The Physical Editions, the PS4 will have the option to upgrade through the PS Store as well. Please note the PS4 disc will need to be inserted into the PS5 to access the digital upgraded PS5 version of the game. Then there are cross-gen bundles that will give you the upgraded version on release, and then there is the Ultimate Edition, which will be giving PS4 and PS5 versions, so you get both for the same price. Cross-gen bundle is priced at $70 US following NBA 2K21's increase up from the $1 dues. It's been noted that Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War will be running at 120 frames per second in the 4K res, according to its report published by VentureBeat. It is unclear whether the title will achieve a full native 2160 image, but will more than likely it is that it will be rendered at a low resolution using them sweet upscaling, super sampling, reconstruction techniques. The frame rate seems achievable, however, given the first-person shooter has always been scheduled to release on at 60 on the PS4 in the past. So they have been pretty good at creating a consistent frame rate. So when it comes to bumping it up, it looks like these guys have the talent to make it possible. Have you seen the gameplay trailer, Max?
Yeah, I watched
the campaign trailer or whatever.
I watched the trailer with Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
So this game is a direct continuation from Black Ops 1. And multiple sources have said that it will have different endings depending on player choice throughout the campaign, which intrigues me. It's going to be not so much just shooty McShoot. There might be some...
decisions.
Decisions
on where you shoot.
Don't shooty McShoot this person.
Now, one of the things that when we first became friends, Max, we played a lot of Call of Duty together.
Yeah.
This is decades ago now. It feels like decades ago.
Probably
now.
Too much Call of Duty.
We played so much Call of Duty together, and we played primarily Black Ops. Are we too old to return to those ways now?
If it's for campaign, no. If it's multiplayer, probably.
Yeah, we can campaign like champs, but we used to play a lot of multiplayer back then. I think that time has passed us. I think we are no longer there.
Definitely not as good as I used to be.
But yeah, you do have that love for Black Ops. Is this getting you excited?
Oh, like I said before, it's Treyarch, it's zombies, it's got the max stamp of approval. I'll definitely be picking this up.
I'm hesitant, but I'm always hesitant around Call of Duty, and then I end up buying it every fucking year, so...
I'm a sucker for zombies, and...
What's going on with that goddamn light? Alright.
Because of my friend group, generally, if they all get it, I'll tend to throw it in, and I'll get suckered into purchasing it.
Yeah, because everyone will be playing it.
I'll be like, come play games with me, and they'll be like, nah, we're playing the new Call of Duty. I'm like, all right. And then 30 minutes later, I'll be like, yeah, so my copy's installed. Do you want to send me an invite?
Could be an option. Well, we'll do. Well, look, if it's a launch title, I'm gonna play as many launch titles as I can. That's my goal.
Yeah. So
maybe we'll go there. All right, Max. Let's get into the big bundle of news. Gamescom.
Yeah, so yesterday morning.
Friday morning. So at time of recording, yesterday, the 28th, 3 a.m. in the morning, we had the Gamescom conference with Jeff Keighley's, was it One Night Only? Or no, what's it called? One Night...
I don't know. It was such a weird show because no one seemed to know what the awards were for or how they were judged. Or all I watched it for were the releases. I kind of went through afterward. I didn't watch the whole thing. I kind of went through afterwards and went, okay, this is everything that was announced. This is all the stuff. I heard floatings that there was supposed to be like 38 games shown off, both premieres and second looks and stuff like that. I've kind of sifted through it and listed all the PlayStation titles because that's what we're all about here.
That's right.
So let's kick things off with probably the biggest PlayStation title coming out of Gamescom. We got some more Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So they showed some more gameplay footage captured directly from a PS5. They had a live demo, I believe. Insomniac Games has stated there will be 0 loading screens in the game.
Bold statement.
There is no release date, but the studio has confirmed that it is a launch window.
So what's that, from November through to March?
November through to Feb?
Yeah.
I think.
Well, because they're the back end of Q4, I think maybe back end of Q1.
Maybe.
I think the launch window will have to be like artificially inflated, especially with current circumstances, and delayed up the butthole. So
yeah, so it'll be interesting. Could we see 2 Insomniac launch titles with Miles Morales really as well as Ratchet and Clank?
Well, they need to be worth that $300 billion, whatever they'll $300 million they'll bought for. Like, they got to earn their keep. I'm excited for Ratchet.
Yeah,
like, hard.
It looks so good.
I'm excited for everything, really. Like, in terms of, like, it's this weird line of I'm depressed as hell, but like there are some things that are making me excited.
I'm not gonna lie. If I could have one game as a day one launch title for the PlayStation 5, I think it would be Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty cool.
I think, yeah. Next up, we had a game that is not coming out anytime soon. Dragon Age 4. They showed a 4-minute video with behind-the-scenes development.
Nothing says this game is fucking so far away than just showing people at their desks.
So they showed some very early gameplay where you were attacking grey T-posed dummies. You know, all the developers are really excited about it, but there is nothing to show, unfortunately. They are still very early in development.
God damn it.
Next up, we had Unknown 9 Awakening. So they showed off a short trailer showing off some of the cool visuals and some mechanics of the game. The description stating, raised on the streets of Kolkata, India, and haunted by visions of her own death, Haruna struggles to understand her mysterious innate abilities to manipulate the unseen. A mentor soon helps Haruna hone her gifts, teaches her to access the mysterious hidden dimension known as the Fold, and propels her on a journey to unlock the mysteries of this new realm. So in the trailer, she was running through the streets and she was kind of, she was getting chased by bullies, and she this pulse came out of her and everything time slowed down to almost a stop. And then she deals with the bullies, and then time flicks back into reality, and the bullies on the ground. And then she's just like, that's right. Looks kind of cool. It'd be interesting to see what comes of it.
All right, sure, I'll give it a bell. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Should we take the next couple?
Sure. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So this is like sort of like big collective thing of the Star Wars saga in Lego form. We saw a new gameplay trailer. It's demonstrating the spanning all the Star Wars films. Set to release on PS5 and PS4 in spring 2021. So that is in the autumn. That is Q2.
Yeah. So there is one thing from this trailer that I found hilarious, and it was the scene where everyone. Let me see if I can get this right. I think it's a scene where Luke is standing off with the Sith Lord, whatever his name is, the old man in the robe,
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, the bit where he's gonna like force lightning in.
Yeah.
So he pulls out the Lego lightning and it doesn't reach, and then he just throws the physical Lego pieces at him and then blasts him. I had a bit of a chuckle. It was funny.
The humor of the Lego games are actually really pretty good, normally.
I found it interesting that Rey was in it. I was like, ooh.
Well, it's the Star Wars saga, man. Just because she's part of it. Yeah. She's apparently she's a fucking Skywalker now. She just adopted the name. Whatevs.
Yeah.
Little Nightmares 2. They showed a 2-minute gameplay trailer announcing that it was launching on PS4 on the 11th of February 2021, with the PS5 version coming later. PS4 owners will be upgraded to the PS5 version for free. This is bullshit because I'm pretty sure this is on my list of draft games this year.
This game looks terrifying.
Yeah, man. Have you played the first one?
No.
First one is cool. But I'm really excited. I'm actually really super keen to get the sequel. But yeah, the downside is it affects my draft.
From what I've seen, I think it's more of the same.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a cool little side scroller. With sort of these really unnerving sort of almost stop motion plasticine sort of characters. It's really it's unsettling.
I watched the trailer in the dark. I'm like, whoa, this is terrifying.
Should have done it, man. But it's the first one's cheap as piss. I recommend you grab it. I reckon you jump on it. All right, I'll jump on this one as well, and then you can probably do the next couple. We'll do how many was that? 1, 2. We'll do 3 each. Dirt 5, a new trailer focusing on the new Playgrounds mode. The Playgrounds mode, players can create their own events, custom arenas, races, and more using all sorts of objects and obstacles. You will then be able to share them online with everyone else, meaning there will be a constant stream of user-made challenges to play. All versions of the games will have access to the Playgrounds content. If your friend makes something on the PS4, you'll be able to play it on your PS5. And at the end of the trailer, Codemasters teases a vampire mode.
Because that's what we need in our car racing games, vampire mode.
What's that fucking movie?
But then we have... next up we had Quantum Error. They showed a new gameplay trailer. Lots of
spooks.
What appeared to be like zombies and demons, and had a guy with a big minigun. Apparently it is a launch window title, so... could be anywhere up till March?
Sure.
At this point.
Yeah.
It seems to be the horror survival game. First person shooter. Lots of spooks. Next up, we got new gameplay trailer for Scarlet Nexus, showing off some of the new powers and all its allies. You know, it's that very anime RPG-esque, or possibly more action combat similar to that of Code Vein that came out earlier.
So this is one of the ones that was in one of the state of plays, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Override 2, Super Mecha League, the sequel to Override Mech City Brawl, due to release in December. Promises to be bigger and better. Override 2 installs massive upgrades that bring the series' balance of accessible design and deeply rewarding combat to the next level. Includes a brand new career mode that lets players fight for the reputation of their club as they pummel their way to the top of mech leagues, packed with formidable rivals, reads the official description. Yeah, didn't do much for me.
Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, has flashback tapes, items that can be collected in levels as long as you don't die getting to them. So essentially, like little in-level challenges. So what are they called?
So it sounds like because they're in the older games. They used to have what were known as the death runs, where if you got to
I couldn't think of the word. Thank you. Yeah,
if you got to a certain point in the level without dying, you could go on this extra path, and generally there was either generally the colored gems would be at the end of these death runs. Yeah. So these are supposed to be, because they were speaking to one of the developers, apparently they are more difficult than what the death runs were.
Ew! I'm in.
Yeah, man.
Next up, Fall Guys Season 2. Season 1 hasn't even ended yet and they're already laying it down. They announced a trailer showing off what Season 2 had to offer, including a medieval theme. So lots of castle levels with ramparts and new obstacles. All the skins are themed within this as well. We've seen knights, wizards, dragons, etc. Some minor changes in some of the levels. It looks as if there is sort of like parts where you have to work together to push extra levels to be able to, so they're bringing in some more teamwork, which is what the Fall Guys sucks at. So that's interesting.
They also, I forgot to put this in, they've also said they're working on custom lobbies. So hopefully you'll be able to invite more friends to play your own lobbies. And in the latest patch, you can't play team-based games anymore if there's an uneven number of players.
That's a good.
Thank you. I'm sick of losing team-based games because we just have less numbers.
Yeah.
The other team.
That's a very good call. Very good call. Well done, Fall Guys. Shout out to Fall Guys, by the way. Just being fucking awesome. Their social media game's on point. The game is amazing.
Apparently, it is the most downloaded PlayStation Plus game of all time.
Yeah, unquestionably, because it's awesome. It's great. Like Rocket League could have been that, but that was right in the early days of the PS4. Like right now, you have 120 million consoles out there, and everyone wants fucking Fall Guys. I'd be fascinated to so many people. Like even if 10 million people. Like someone pointed out the other day that Animal Crossing has sold like 22 million copies, which no PlayStation exclusive has ever sold that many exclusives ever. That's horrifying. So that makes me wonder, like, how many fucking Fall Guys copies are out there? Because I think there's like 30 million PS Plus users, active users.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so Fall Guys looks cool. I'm totally in. Next up, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, as you mentioned, showed the story trailer with Ronald Reagan, direct continuation of Black Ops 1, multiple endings as we discussed before.
We got some more Star Wars Squadrons. So we've got a new gameplay trailer focusing on the single player campaign. Still looks really good. You know, you got your dogfights and it's good. Looks good. With a release date of the 2nd of October. There's not much to say about it, man. If you have played the old Star Wars Rogue Squadron games, this is just that, but looks so much better.
I just love your hesitation.
As a guy who doesn't like Star Wars that much, Star Wars Squadrons is looking so good. We got some Mafia Definitive Edition. Showed off a short trailer. This game is looking much better than the other re-release versions of Mafia titles. So obviously this was the big one where they redid
this is where the money went, yeah.
Yeah, they redid the voice, they changed the script a little bit. Yeah, it's looking good. We got a short trailer for Destiny 2, showing the footage of the new stasis element and subclasses.
There's also some controversies around Destiny 2 right now with everything going into the vault.
Yeah, just...
Are you done skis of Destiny? Are you out?
So, the friend of the show, Noodle, who I normally play Destiny with, we both haven't played Destiny in so long because the sandbox of that game is atrocious. Oh. The balancing is garbage, and unfortunately, if it's not fixed in this expansion, I'm probably not going to pick it up.
Brutal.
Thankfully, I know this is a PlayStation show, but thankfully, due to their deal with Microsoft and it coming to Games Pass for free, I will try the new DLC. If it's good, I'll buy it on PlayStation.
Dirty.
But if it's bad, I'm going to save myself $1 dues and not play it at all.
Next up, we got some more information. A little teaser trailer for the upcoming single-player DLC for Doom Eternal. It's called Ancient Gods. It's due out on the 20th of October, where you'll be partnered with an old ally as you, quote, battle your way back to Urduk and decide the fate of the cosmos once again. Do you remember that Doom Eternal came out this year, Max?
Yeah, didn't it come out at like the start of the year?
Yeah. I could have swore it was fucking October last year.
Before the world turned to shit?
Yeah. I could have swore it was last year. Really, I could have. But no, it's this year. And it wasn't until they got pointed out to me, I went, oh, yeah. Now, I think we only have the stand. I think, we reviewed the game. Thank you to Bethesda. I don't think we got the one with the season pass. So I might check it out. Because I did want to get the platinum, but I got distracted. Sims 4. The Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batuu. The Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batuu, almost as bad as fucking Cold War, is set on the remote planet on the edge of the Outer Rim territories, inspired by Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland and Disney World. So it's the Outer Rim, Tatooine, all those sand planets. Reads the press release. Quote, Sims will experience the authentic sights and sounds of the Star Wars universe, including the Millennium Falcon and DJR3X's interstellar hits at Augur's Cantina.
EA are cashing in on that license, aren't they?
Maybe remember there was a while where EA should fucking lose that license. Maybe they are. Maybe there's let's just throw Star Wars to fucking everything until we can get there. Well, in Sims 4, the regular version, you can get like a baby Yoda, you can get like a Jango Fett costume. Boba Fett costume, sorry.
This has got Rey character models in it that you can. There's missions to do, and it seems very unsim-like.
Yeah. So what can you do? Spellbreak. It's a mage battle royal using magic instead of guns. Cell shaded graphics, interesting looking gameplay, and releases next week on the PS4. I've seen this all over my Twitters.
I've played it. It's quite fun.
How have you played it?
I got invited to the closed beta through Epic.
Oh damn! There you go.
So I played it, and it's fun. It's a 3-player battle royale instead of the 4-player. So I don't think there's any solos, duos, or quads. It was interesting. It was rough when I played it. Hopefully, it's a little bit better now.
You'd fucking hope so. It's coming out next week. Bring it home.
Next up, we have Bridge Constructor: The Walking Dead. This had a live-action trailer of a man escaping zombies, and after he's escaped them, he's sitting there playing the game as the zombies come in. So, quote: Use movable level objects, explosives, and baits to your advantage as you lure walkers into lethal traps and guide your survivors to safety. Enjoy the physics-based frenzy and ragdoll animations as walkers succumb to the forces of gravity. I think they did a Portal version not long ago.
So there's been a number of versions of this Bridge Constructor, and Walking Dead seems like an odd license, but sure.
And then lastly, we had Sam and Max. This time it's virtual. Sam and Max are back. The freelance police are making their grand return next year when they'll star in a brand new VR game named Sam and Max. This time it's virtual. However, no platforms have been confirmed for this title.
I'll give you a hint. PSVR. Other VR headsets. Thank you very much.
So, yeah, unsure if it will come to PSVR or not, but being a VR title, hopefully. It looked alright.
Alright, well, I'm gonna bring these quick bits in, Max, since we just smashed the shit out of that thing. Quick bits. Oh, actually, before we do that, what do you think? Gamescom, did it tick your boxes? How'd it go?
Like I said, I only watched afterwards of the releases. From what I've heard, it was a bit of a shambles of a show. No one was because it was an award show. No one knew.
I know it was an award show. It's so weird.
Yeah, it was like an award show, and no one knew how they were judging them or what they were there for or what it was. It was really weird. Jeff Keighley just seems to be the awards guy now, and wherever there's awards, Jeff Keighley seems to be. Weird. I mean, yeah.
All right.
It was fine.
Yeah, look, so there are some good reveals here, some good announcements, some good updates. Nothing of major note, nothing to blow your pants off. But if you wanted some updates and things, cool. Then you're all good. Quick bits, Max. Marvel's Avengers will have a paid battle pass for each character. That's right, each character. Pardon me. So the characters themselves are free, but to get their cosmetic items, you must buy that hero's battle pass.
So apparently these are $10 each, and apparently you will make the in-game... So you've got to buy the premium currency to get that. And from what they're saying, similar to that of your battle passes for like Call of Duty or... Fortnite, you will get premium currency for completing them. So apparently it's if you buy one and complete it, you'll have enough to purchase the next one for free. So in theory, you can buy one and get them all if you grind them all out.
Okay.
So I guess that's makes it less bad, but it sucks that they're saying because they straight up said, all our characters will be released for free because they're tied into the story and we've got missions for them and blah blah blah. You want that alternate costume?
Well, remember, Star Wars Battlefront 2. There is no paid DLC. Fucking loaded with microtransactions, but it's no paid DLC. You had an issue with paid DLC. Well, guess what? It's fucking gone. It's gone, skis. You get all the content. You have to work for it and pay money for it, but not how you think. That's what they're doing here as well. This is an interesting concept. It allows you to focus on the characters that you want. If you're like, well, why the fuck would I want a battle pass for Black Widow? I don't give two shits about Black Widow. I play as Hulk. and so like you're getting to put the money where you want. But it's also that dirty tactic of like, well, if I want to play Hulk and Iron Man, I'm forking out twice as much in theory. Dirty. Monster Hunter World Iceborne is getting its final update on October 1st, adding the Black Dragon Fatalis. This game has seen a ridiculously extended life. It is absolutely amazing, and it's sad to see it all come to the end. But well done to them. And finally, in terms of news, there's one thing I want to do before we wrap up the show. But top 10 best PS4 games, week ending the 23rd of August in order. Number 10, God of War. Number 9, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 8, Far Cry New Dawn. Number 7, The Last of Us Part 2. Number 6, Assassin's Creed Origins. Number 5, GTA 5. Number 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 3, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 2, UFC 4. And number 1, PGA Tour 2K21. Now, but before we get into the new releases, Max, we've had some questions come here in the chat, and so therefore I'm going to bring in a segment that we haven't done in a little while called From the Players, where we get questions from you guys and we answer them here on the show. It's been a long while. It's something we loved doing back in the day, but it kind of dried up, so we didn't really get too much of it. There was a question here early on. Where were we? This one came from Mordecai. He asked the question, is Fall Guys Game of the Year? Essentially saying, he says, is Fall Guys Game of the Year in your opinion, or is it The Last of Us Part 2? So he's essentially asking, will Fall Guys be Game of the Year? Is it for you? What do you reckon?
I think Last of Us will win Game of the Year this year. I don't think there was much competition for that game.
Yeah.
The hype level, so you're frozen again.
I know, I'm aware.
The hype level of that game and just the polish on it, despite all the bad press that they got from internet fans I use the term fans loosely, the internet trolls being what they were, I still think that game will take it. But you know what's going to win Game of the Year for the multiplayer section? Probably Fall Guys.
Yeah, any sort of like the family friendly category. If we're using Jeff Keighley's Game Awards categories, the family friendly one, the multiplayer, the online service one. Oh yeah, it's 100% going like Fall Guys. It won't win Game of the Year. I'm probably in the same boat. I think everyone's like, it'll essentially be a jerk off between Cyberpunk and The Last of Us Part 2. That's where I see it going.
I'm still pretty sure Cyberpunk doesn't meet the cutoff date.
Yes, November 13. Oh no!
I'm pretty sure Cyberpunk does not meet the cutoff date, which means Cyberpunk's going to be competing against all the next gen stuff that's coming.
Oh shit! Oh well, sucks to be them. They shouldn't have delayed 9 times. Yeah, so look, in my opinion, right now, from the games that I've played, Last of Us is certainly up there. Even though I've really enjoyed Fall Guys, it's not what I would consider to be in my Game of the Year list. It's not for me. It's not what I look for in what I deem the high-end games that I play. So that's... Would you put it in your? 'Cause have you been playing a lot of it?
I stopped playing for a while because I really like the premise of Fall Guys, but I don't like the team-based stuff. I don't like being eliminated because I have a garbage team.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more frustrating than that.
I agree.
Yeah, that's my only gripe with this game. But now with all the new updates, they're like, you can't get team-based games twice in a row. You can't get team-based games if there's uneven number of players. So they've realized that was an issue and they've fixed it, which is great. And now I've been back on it every once in a while.
Yeah, I think in the same way that like the Oscars aren't objective, in the same way the Game Awards aren't objective, because really last year. The movie of the year, the film of the year, should have been Avengers Endgame, purely on numbers. That movie sold more than any fucking movie on that list for best film of the year. Same goes for games, man. Presumably, Grand Theft Auto 5 objectively should be the game of the year again, purely on sales. Or, in this case, of a brand new game, yeah, Fall Guys may be up there with its success, especially around PS Plus, right? But that's not how it works. There is that subjectivity around it. There, people will go with how they feel, and then because it's all like based on like by critics, whatever. And it's the same way that the Oscars, it's a bunch of old crotchety fucks that see film as high art. Therefore, these unnecessary high art films get in there. Same goes for games press, like the people that help put those games in those categories. You can kind of guess where they're going to go. Not a bad thing. Last of Us is brilliant. Probably it's be my top 3 for sure this year. Top 3 unquestionably. And then a second question comes here from Dave, or in my pants. He goes, "What's the guess for the PS5 price using your Australian dollary do?" He predicts $5.99 and $6.99. Max, what do you got?
I'm sitting at $5.49, $6.49.
Oh, you see, I think you guys are being way too conservative. I think $6.99 discless, $7.99 with the disc in.
No, I think they're going to sell them at a loss. I think after the launch of the PS3, when the PS3 launched at its ludicrous price in Australia, I think they're going to come in at what the PlayStation 4 came in at almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that lower price point.
I do expect that, but I think with the current circumstances, the Australian dollar isn't as strong as it could have been. It is in this. Sorry, 1 second. Yes, mate.
Can I have some of your water?
Sure, have some of my water. There you go. Thank you, buddy. $800 is pretty epic, and I think that's the reason. I think there's a series of circumstances that will push the price up that way. Whether it be that Australian tax that jacks the price up, or they can count cost of shipping. International flights aren't a thing right now. All your post offices are fucked here in Australia. Like, distribution is harder than ever before. In order to get it to you on the day you want, we've had to put an extra price on it. That's what they could do, and the world as it is right now, there is a reason to do that. So yeah, $800 is steep, but I look, if I were you, I would put $800 in your bank account. That's what you should have. If it's not, awesome. Guess what? You get to buy another controller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how it should be. I think it's high. That's where I'm keeping my bar. If it's any less, then we're gonna win. The Reverend Park also adds a quick question. Are you trying to say that Cyberpunk wasn't the PlayStation game of the year? Hey, it may not be. It depends if it ever comes out. We'll wait and see on that one. But anyway, as I said, that game's so far away, and whether it will ever release ever. Max, let's talk about games that are coming out this week in a section we called Coming to the Players.
This week we have nothing till September. We have Spellbreak coming to PlayStation 4 September 3. We have Ari and the Secret of Seasons on September 1st. The big ones being
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Tony Hawk's. Yeah, I'm getting there. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster coming September 4th.
Remake, Marvel, my friend. Ain't a remaster, my fucking remake.
Remake. It's got it here listed as a remaster, but yeah, remake. Marvel's Avengers coming September 4th.
Apparently September 1st if you get the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, if you buy the Big Boy Edition, you get it 5 days earlier or 3 days earlier or whatever that is. And NBA 2K21 coming September 4th to apparently every console known to mankind, including Stadia. Didn't think that was still working, but sure. That's it. That's it for this week.
Tony Hawk's is your place. Avengers if you're feeling flashy with your dollars.
Tony Hawk's is going to be my place. I've already pre-ordered it digitally, got it ready to go.
Yeah,
bean.
I will probably pick up Tony Hawk's. We've requested a code for Avengers, so we'll be able to play that. But next week, expect us to talk Tony Hawk, maybe even the Avengers, depending on how we go, but probably Tony Hawk.
It'll be Tony Hawk. I think that's all I'm going to play once it comes out.
Bring it home, Max. Let's get out of here.
Well, this PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations, please check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter. All our links in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record this show live. And we would love to continue doing From the Players. We want to hear from you guys. We want to hear what you have to say. So, hit us up on those social medias, or if you have any questions, throw them in the Twitch chat and we'll answer them at the end of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you listen to it on podcast services, be sure to give it a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. We'd love to hear from you, as I mentioned. If you want to support us financially, you can. Patreon.com/thepopcultures, or our merchandise store, popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And also, I believe the store's on sale right now. Go check it out. They haven't taken down the FTP design yet, so maybe you can still get something. Fingers crossed. Let me know. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players. For the Players, the Pop Culturist PlayStation podcast is fan-supported at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damien Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.